Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Katie Huff with Katie Huff Ministries, and I am excited to have another episode of Setting Yourself Free so you can be, do, and have all that God created you to be. And we are going to go over the 7 pillars of health with Dr. Michele Sherwood, who is an expert and is a walking, talking example of the 7 pillars of health. So she doesn't just tell you what to do, she also shows you and lives that. And so you need to go to sherwood.tv to get all the information, education, detoxes, supplements. They truly are there to help you to live a higher life of performance and free of illness. And also, I want to share with you that Katie Huff Ministries is holding a women's retreat in Paradise, Montana, which is October 27th through the 30th. And so you're going to want to go to katy-huff.com/events. So you can see what this is all about in Paradise, which is the gift of grace and gratitude. So I am so excited that you are going to be able to find this wonderful message and education on Rumble and Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and you name it, Apple, Spotify. We want you to engage in this and learn from this so you can live a more healthy life. So thank you, Dr. Michele, for being here. You are such just a gift and a blessing for everyone. And I am extremely even more intrigued because obviously you see she's a beautiful woman and she can help us women with all these hormonal things as well. So, and she is one of the best. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Katie. I always enjoy being on your show, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. You know, my husband and I, we just carry the wellness torch and go across the country trying to help people lead a healthier lifestyle because we know what we're doing in America, even across the world, is not working. People are getting sicker and sicker. And we talk often about what we call the 7 pillars of health, and each pillar is really important if we want to live that optimal, vital life with good longevity and performance.
Amen. And so which pillar would you like to start with first? Because there's 7 of them and we want to share them with you.
Well, at the top of the list, you're going to always hear me say that nutrition is the most important medical decision that you make every single day. It makes up about 85% of your long-term outcome. And most of us eat 3 meals a day, sometimes 3 meals a day and 2 snacks. And some of us just eat and graze all day. But if it's the wrong choices and the wrong things, you think about the most important medical decision. That's a lot of medical decisions that we're making every single day, 365 days of the year. And before we know it, we're riddled with this stuff called adult toys. I'm not trying to be funny. It's walkers, wheelchairs, crutches, and canes. And everybody's got a loved one, a family member, or somebody that's suffered from chronic disease. And oftentimes those chronic things they don't necessarily have to happen if we take the right action. We start early, we start young, and we just live it out day after day. We can live long and vital late into our years.
Yes, and I bet you would agree that it's never too late to pivot and start a new path and a new commitment to your health if you haven't done it up until now.
It is never too late. You know, this body is miraculously and wonderfully made by our Father in heaven. And, you know, we were knitted together in such a perfect way. Sometimes we get off track and get derailed, but we can recover and rehabilitate this body that's made for healing. The body wants to heal. It's designed to heal. And if we give it what it needs, it heals.
Awesome. So that's the first step, is committing to giving it what it needs. So nutrition is obviously number 1. And so
well, here's a caveat with that. Number 1 is, you know, people say, well, eating healthy is expensive. Don't you hear that all the time?
Yes.
So that's why Mark and I created Kingdom Fuel.
Amen.
Which is, you know, less than $5 a meal. It's a complete meal shake that's made with an organic pea protein, greens and reds. It's a multivitamin and mineral. It's even got some fiber in there. So it does a body good for, you know, less than $5 a meal. The standard American lunch, Katie, can you guess what that is?
I would bet even at McDonald's, it used to be like maybe, what was that? A Big Mac was, you know, maybe $3 or $4, and it's maybe 10 now or 12, or probably double or triple what your Kingdom Fuel is.
The average cost of an American lunch is $13 to $15.
There you go.
So if we can do a body good, help it heal and feel good with $5.
I know. I can't wait. I have some. I've used it. It's amazing. And I can't wait to even go through the detox because I can't wait to even feel better than I already do. So that is awesome. Kingdom Fuel. And that is a very smart decision and way to supplement having maybe 1 or 2 meals versus 3 out or 3 that you're making. And this would be even much more healthier for you.
Yeah, we just wanted to take away the excuses. So that's resolving excuse number 1.
That's awesome.
It's
So
too expensive.
You'll have more money in the bank by using Kingdom Fuel, and you're going to feel better. So you've got all kinds of benefits and bonuses with that. And so that was nutrition. Do you want to, what's number 2?
Well, number 2, in fact, is exercise. We both just got back from our morning exercise routine. It's something that we do on a regular basis. Both Mark and I exercise approximately 7 days a week. That's not always the regimen for everybody, but when you've been doing it, when you were knee high to a grasshopper, you just keep it up.
Right.
We know that, yeah, exercise is good for bone health, especially that resistance exercise as we get older. If we're not giving the bones the signal that they need to deposit minerals in the bones, we develop this thing called disease, osteoporosis, thinning of the bones, weakening of the bones, and 1 fracture is an 80% mortality. So without good resistance exercise, we become frail, we lose muscle. Muscle is agility, and the loss of muscle is frailty, and frailty is a disease. It's got its own ICD-10 code. So it actually will show up in your medical chart. If you're starting to lose muscle and put on fat, they call that sarcopenic obese frailty, and you get an ICD-10 code for that. So
Wow.
with good, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
That's impressive.
And it's not good.
No.
And of course, along with resistance training, we got to keep up that aerobic training.
Yes.
The recommendation is usually 150 minutes a week of some sort of aerobic exercise, whether it's rowing, spinning on a bike, fast walking, jogging or running if you like it, elliptical, stair climber, or whatever fits your fancy, so that you're getting your heart rate up to keep that heart muscle strong in your chest. That's what pumps blood oxygen and nutrients to your tissues. And without that, cells die.
Amen. And the other thing I'm sure that you could share is the endorphin releases. And in today's world, with all of the stress that I'm sure people are aware that we're under on a daily, hourly, minute by minute basis, that I'm always saying, if I don't exercise, someone could get shot. And I'm only saying that as a joke, but I need my endorphins.
Yeah, down and dirty on the daily, right? Stressed out. Yes. So exercise is a great pharmacy.
Yes.
Your body has its own pharmacy. It makes its own pain relievers. It makes its own, happy chemicals. It makes its own things that it makes its own hormones. So in essence, exercise helps your body make its own pharmaceuticals.
That is such a great way to address that. I mean, I've never heard that before, but it makes total sense because of what the results are. And that your body, like you're saying, creates these endorphins and many other things that are healthy for us.
That's right. It's like sitting is the new smoking.
Ooh,
if we sit too much, we don't get blood, oxygen, and nutrients to our tissues. And it's like just sitting. Oh, I had a friend one time that told me that baths really weren't good. It's like steeping in your own stew. I just couldn't understand that because I like to take a bath.
So do I. I'm like, that's when I relax. That's when I get a chillax.
Yeah, so I kind of put that on the back burner, but it's like if you don't exercise, you're like steeping in all of that toxicity because you're not sweating, you're not moving blood through your tissues, your lymphatic system isn't pumping. That lymphatic system requires the action of the muscles to actually clean itself. So exercise does a body good.
Yes, it does. And I agree to that because it keeps the machine, the fine machine, lubricated and moving the way it's supposed to. So you don't have to go to get what do you want to call it? A mechanical. Well, you have to take your car in and get it oiled and lubed. You should be doing the exercise because that's what it'll do for you at home. Awesome. So number 3.
Number 3 is stress management.
There's no stress in our world today, Michelle. I don't think. What are you talking about?
No. Tell me about that little knock on the door you got right before this interview. Can
Exactly.
you imagine being that individual?
God love her.
Little
She's
heart
there
pumping.
working hard and wasn't welcomed on one of our doors. So I was sad to hear that, but I was grateful that I could speak truth and life into her. And that's what we should be doing for each other every day.
For sure. You turn on the TV and you hear all kinds of negativity. Turn on
Mm,
the radio in the car and you hear all kinds of negativity. You look at social media, there's all kinds of negativity.
mhm,
Work is stressful. Sometimes the job is stressful. The ways we have to show up seems to be stressful. Well, we know that stress is a verb. It's
yes.
the action we take in response to life's expected or unexpected circumstances.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, so we really have to kind of train our mind to let what's coming at us come in and think for a minute before we have a response, because that response creates a physiological
Mhm,
systemic cellular response, and it can either raise your cortisol levels, spin them out of control, and accelerate your adrenal hormones, cause your heart to pump, your blood pressure to go up, your blood sugar to go up, and your digestion to go down, in your parasympathetic nervous system to get off skew, which is what helps you rest and relax and recover.
mm,
So everything is spun out of control in the wrong direction. If we slowly stop, teach ourselves to breathe, think, think for a second before we respond, our body can have a completely and totally different physiological response.
mm,
However, it is a trained thing. Our typical human response is to fight or flight. We're running from a lion, a tiger, a bear, and it doesn't know the difference until we train it differently. The adrenaline response, the stress response is the same if we unleash it and just let it run rampant and run our lives. And that stress it can destroy our cardiac system because of blood pressure, heart rate, and all of the things that it does to the vascular system. It drives us to do crazy things, eat crazy things, do other things, drink, just to try to manage stress instead of sitting down for a minute, deep breathing, thinking about it. Is
mm.
this really going to destroy my life in this moment? Or is it something that I have time to plan out how I react and how I respond to it?
I totally agree. I am always talk to people as, for example, what you're saying with it, you pause, you pray, in my opinion,
I
and
love that.
you don't do anything until you have peace. So you don't open your mouth until you know that what you're going to say is going to be not, what do we want to call it? I almost said agnostic, but it's not agnostic. It's like where it's going to be, an attack versus, coming from a, a place of peace. So that's the big thing. Pause, pray, and peace. And you don't say anything until you feel that peace to be able to address it because of all of the, like you said, the physiological responses that we have control over those physiological responses by how we respond.
Yeah, I love that. Pause, pray, peace.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes it's going to take a lot of time in prayer.
Yes, it is.
And we're so used to just pushing that reaction button. And before we do it, when we do it, we say things we don't want to say.
Mhm.
We say things that we don't mean. And then we reap the consequences of those stressors that are actually coming back at us. And we're having to try to unwind those things as well. So I love that. Pause, pray, and peace.
Yeah, my 3P diagnose or not diagnosis, but um, you know, answer to everything most times. And you don't do anything until you have peace because that you're guarding yourself, guard your heart and mind at all times. Number
Amen.
4.
That's going to be sleep.
Oh, well, that's a biggie for sure. They all are, but man, sleep is, I think people take for granted sleep.
And we try to get more done. We rob Peter to pay Paul, and at some point there becomes the law of diminishing returns. And of course, that oftentimes starts to happen when we get a little bit older, because as the chronological age goes up, yes, the biological age is going to go with it. And there does come a point when the body has a little bit of a delayed healing process, especially if we're eating the standard American diet and we're not exercising and we're
Mhm.
not managing our stress. And then we're not managing our sleep. The law of diminishing returns happens quicker, faster, and easier. So sleep is where the body recovers, Sleep is where the body, detoxifies. Sleep is where the body cleans itself up with this phase called autophagy. Autophagy is just a fancy word for cellular cleaning.
Mm.
So when you're asleep and you're in a fasted, unfed state, your body will go towards rubbish or debris that's hanging around that needs to be cleaned up. But if we don't get enough rest and we don't have enough time without fuel on our stomach or without that glycemic load, the body is really in this fed, unrested state all the time. And that leads to disease, inflammation, and then chronic disease easier, quicker, and faster.
Wow. So what I'm visualizing, because I'm such a visual person, is do you remember the little game, the Pac-Man?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm visualizing the Pac-Man while we're sleeping is doing its job to clean up our body.
That's it. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, most people will go down on a full stomach or they'll wake up in the middle of the night to eat.
Oh, wow.
And I would probably, change their think process on that and have them choose something protein in nature or a handful of nuts or something without carbohydrates in it. So they're not stimulating that insulin response. Because if we're going down on that insulin response where carbohydrates or alcohol or something that spike the blood sugars on board, that also will rob the body from that healing process or that process of autophagy. So sleep has to really to really get the best out of sleep. The body has to be in the best conditions when it lays down as well.
Absolutely. That's good. I like it.
So wait a couple hours before you go down to rest if you just ate that big meal.
Yeah. Give your body a break. All right. And number 5.
Number 5. You and I have talked a little bit about this in the past. That's DNA. Now, when we talked about the first 4, if you logically think about it, we actually have direct control over those first 4.
Mm-hmm.
Nutrition, we make the choice about what we put at the end of our forks.
Right.
Exercise, we make the decision if we're going to work that into our schedule or not. Stress management, we make the decision if we're going to pause, pray, and have peace, turn that verb into a different type of a response and make a different decision. And then whether or not we're going to invest in sleep hygiene. So those are all things that we have direct control over. These last 3, we don't have quite as much control over. However, with good science today and good testing today, we actually can do something about these other 3 if they start to get out of balance. And at the top of the list is DNA. Now, DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, is the genetic material that resides or is housed inside the nucleus of the cell, per se. Mm-hmm. And that DNA is what makes recipes for the body to carry out function, make tissues, recover, and repair. And we can test that. We test the actionable genes so we know how your body detoxifies, how your body is inflamed or not, how your body deals with oxidative stress, how your body handles certain meal plans. Like, are you a person that can't have carbohydrates, that doesn't really tolerate the glycemic load? Are you a person that doesn't tolerate too much fat? Are you a person that doesn't tolerate the glycemic load or too much fat? Some people have to really walk a straight line if they're going to live in accordance with how their DNA is structured. So when we go to look at the DNA, we're looking at actionable genes that have been affected with how your mom and dad, the 2 mashed potatoes, come together and make new DNA. When they come together to make new DNA, new recipes are formed, and sometimes those recipes are a little bit shy of complete action or complete enzymatic action. But if we know where those enzymes are weak, and we know the cofactors that those enzymes need, now each enzyme is going to need a vitamin or a mineral to help it run efficiently. So if the gene is weak and the cofactor is missing, that's a double whammy. So as we understand these actionable genes and we put these cofactors on board, we get a better result on helping the system run efficiently and effectively.
Wow. That's awesome. Because I think most people think this is what it is. I can't do anything about it. I got my father's genes, I got my mother's genes, and so it is.
Well, and that's we have begun to try to take away the excuses of that by showing people, oh, you may be created this way. But if you live in accordance with how you're created and you respect that and you give the body what it can use and what it can do, and you feel it, what it's asking, fuel it with what it's asking for, you get a completely different, more effective outcome.
Great.
So we can live long and live strong into our later years without having to have, cellular degeneration because, oh, it's just my genes.
Right.
I don't want to do anything about it. And we don't take heed or heedance over the things that we know to do right once we crack that recipe book open.
Right. Awesome. I love it. I love it. That is awesome. So number 6.
Well, number 6 is one of my favorite topics because I've been fighting for women's health care for over 24 years, and we're just now starting to see a little bit of turn in the eyes of mainstream medicine in how important hormones are for the system. Now, when people hear hormones, they think, oh, just male and female sex hormones, but there's many types of hormones. Insulin is a hormone.
Right.
The hormone that manages blood sugar is a hormone.
Yeah.
There's thyroid hormone.
Right. Right. Right.
There's adrenal hormones.
Yeah.
There's certain types of cytokines that make hormones in your gut. And then, of course, there's those male and female hormones.
Right.
And if that hypothalamic, if the brain gets off track with the pituitary, hypothalamus and pituitary, get off track with the rest of the endocrine glands or organs in the body, boy, nothing really works right. It's like the body can't understand or hear the messaging system that's really going on. And that's what hormones are. They're really kind of like emails. They're being sent out to tissues from the brain due to need, and the cells either hear the response or don't. And if the cells are no longer able to hear the cells and respond and make the right hormones, then we're not getting the benefit of what those hormones do. So if the brain is signaling the adrenals to make adrenal hormones and the adrenals don't respond, we call that Addison's disease or adrenal fatigue or exhaustion. If the thyroid can't respond to the brain's signal to make thyroid hormones, we call that hypothyroidism. Or if it's over-responding, we call it hyperthyroidism, complete opposite ends of the spectrum. If the male and female sex glands can't respond because of age to the brain's signal any longer, we call that menopause. Not sure why we call female menopause.
Exactly.
That should be for
menopause?
men. Yeah.
And menopause for men.
Right,
Menopause for us.
That's right. Yeah. So something got off in that picture. But we call the female climacteric is another medical term for it, menopause, and male decline in hormones, menopause, male andropause. So we call them different terms based on, who knows who named it way back when.
Right. Right. I mean, you do have to pause and go, why are we as women being told we're going into menopause? Someone was not thinking at that moment.
Yeah. Well, menopause can be a very difficult time in a female's life. I mean, lots of things can go south, from brain health, thinking, cognition, cardiac function. Boy, we're starting to link more and more cardiac issues to the lack of hormones. We see bones dry up and go to paste without a signal from the hormones. We see vaginal mucosa. We see all kinds of urogenital type of symptoms start to crop up when hormones decline. It can just be a real miserable time from the time, the menstrual cycle stopped to the time the lifespan ceases.
Right. And it's again, it's so individualized because some can go through it and whistle through it, and others are just like yard darted and miserable.
That's right. But the ones that whistle through it are fewer and far between. I mean, that's like a handful. Most will suffer with a lot of symptoms. A lot of people don't want to talk about it.
Right.
They'll talk about it behind closed doors, of course, with their medical professional, but they really don't want to admit that perhaps that could be them. And once they utilize bioidentical hormones that's personalized for them and they get their life back, boy, it's a game changer. Things turn around, things change, things that were completely off track, that they get their marriages back, they get their their function in their jobs back. They find that they're getting raises. They find that they're thriving. They're starting to do athletic sports again. It's just it's amazing to see what people will do when they think they're just aging. Well, this is just a normal process of aging. And they get told you have to accept this. You're getting older.
Right.
Well, to a degree, yes, things are going to decline. But if we can put things on board to assist in that progression, we don't have to decline with such degradation. We can decline with longevity and optimal performance if we have a plan that is optimized specifically for us and our own personal blood work and what's going on with our chemistry and what our own personal needs are in terms of hormones.
Right. Which is a huge change in what it used to be, like you said. And so there are options and there are things to try, so you can not go yard darting into the grave, but just sliding in smoothly and enjoying the ride.
That's right. My husband says you come up, you're born, you live your life, and then you change addresses.
Exactly.
There's none of that yard darting.
Yes, I agree. I'm with you. I don't want to be yard darted. That's not a good visual.
What is that? Tell me, explain that visual to me.
So have you ever seen the yard dart games? So you have a circle on this side and you have a circle on this side, and you throw the yard dart up and it comes down and goes boom right into the circle.
Yeah. That doesn't sound good.
It's not the way Mark's saying, and then you just change addresses. No, it's like you're going and then you just go before you go to the grave.
Yep. With adult toys, walkers, wheelchairs, crutches, and canes.
Exactly. So now we're all on the same.
Let's not do that. Let's avoid that at all cost.
Right. There's options, and remember that.
All
right.
And we got lots of options. Everybody's different. Everybody metabolizes hormones differently. So we just love to find the unique plan that works uniquely for each person.
Which is a huge blessing for all of us. So thank you, Jesus, and Dr. Mark and Dr. Michele. And then on the seventh one is?
The seventh one is peptides. Now, peptides are chains of amino acids that are strung together in chains of less than 40. If they're over 40, then that peptide becomes a protein. So peptides do lots of unique little functions in the system, and there's lots of different peptides that the body does make these peptides. And oftentimes these peptides decline as we age as well.
Yeah.
So we figured out how to make peptides in the compounding lab. There are peptides like BPC 157, which stands for body preservation compound. And that was actually discovered, back in the Pavlov days, when gastric juice was being studied. It's actually made in gastric juice, and BPC 157 declines with time. And it turns out that BPC 157 is a very potent ligament and tendon healer. So it's a very good connective tissue aid in somebody who is, suffered a ligament sprain. They've had, car accidents and nothing else is working. They're grasping at straws. BPC 157 can be a big healing aid when we're, of course, doing physical therapy, eating right, and doing the right exercises. That can come on board to help the process get better faster.
Awesome.
There's other peptides that act like growth hormone-like peptides. It's not growth hormone. Sermorelin is one of them. It's been approved by the FDA. It's out there. It's not going to go away. But that's a peptide that actually signals the system to make IGF-1, and IGF-1 goes out into the system and also aids musculoskeletal repair, improves lean mass. Sermorelin has been shown to make this thing called BDNF, which stands for brain derived neurotropic factor, and that's like brain fertilizer. So also, as we age, brain fertilizer has a tendency to decline, and that can be one of the things that's linked to lower cognition or less memory, less thought recall, if you will. And sermorelin is also another one of my favorites because it has got a link to sleep. It does help the brain go down and go night-night, and oftentimes people take it at night and they get a better, longer, stronger, full night of sleep where they're going through the full sleep cycles at least 4 times.
Wouldn't that be nice for everybody?
It would be a game changer, especially with those who never get into deep sleep, or they never experience REM sleep, or never experience a full sleep cycle in
Yeah.
any given night.
So all these people that are getting up as tired as they were when they went to bed, this would be amazing for them for so many reasons, because we already talked about sleep, as the body recovers and detoxes, and then also obviously able to just not get out of bed feeling as tired as they were when they went in.
That's right. I mean, and if we put all these things together,
Yeah.
that's called performance and longevity.
Yes.
Who doesn't want to live long and be strong, right?
Right. And not be yard darted into the grave, but to
Into
just slide into it smoothly. Right?
Right. That's right.
Because
Pause, prayer, and peace through our life.
yes, because people think that, I have to accept this, when it's just like, no, take control and say, I'm not going to accept this, and I'm going to do whatever I can to have a long, healthy life, and with performance and longevity. So that is huge, huge, huge. And so anything you'd like to say to wrap this up in a bow with these 7 pillars, which has been absolutely amazing. And I know people are going to be pondering what to do next. So that I can tell you this, first of all, you go to sherwood.tv. That's the first thing you do. And you do a discovery call or make an appointment with them. That's what I would encourage you to do. And what would you encourage them to do?
I would definitely ditto that. And we always tell people, we try to encourage hope into people so that they can be the hope and the light of the world. If we are walking in darkness or with our head down, remember to look up, remember to have hope, remember to have faith. And even if you take these things one at a time, it's a process, it's a journey, it's your journey. Make your journey bright and make your journey shine.
Amen. Well, God bless you, Dr. Michele Sherwood. You are such a breath of fresh air and encouragement, and have so many opportunities for people to live a life of longevity and performance, which is your 2 motto, which is amazing. And I just want to thank everyone for listening. So don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe, and do Rumble and Spotify and Apple and Facebook and all of the different platforms, because this is a way for you to take control of your health and your life. And we're just grateful that you're here. And please go to katie-huff.com/events and meet me in paradise to have even more experience of being set free. So God bless you. Thank you, Dr. Michele, for your heart and your knowledge and just your encouragement. You are an angel and a blessing to all of us.
Well, back at you, Katie. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, dear. Talk to you again soon.
Bye for now.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Katie Huff with Katie Huff Ministries, and this is Bella Jean, and we're coming to you today to talk to you about setting yourself free by having first a great night's sleep. How's that going to happen? By using MyPillow. MyPillow has incredible products. Bella Jean even has her own dog bed and loves it. She sleeps well at night, so do we. Because we also have the topper, we have the pillows, we've used the sheets, we have the towels, and we even have the slippers. So we are a family that loves MyPillow as much as my Bella Jean, and I'm hoping that your dog will love it as much as ours, and that you'll go to mypillow.com/unmasked. Again, that's mypillow.com/unmasked, and you'll get incredible discounts for your family to be setting themselves free to having a great night's sleep and having an amazing holiday season with MyPillow products. Thank you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Katie Huff with Katie Huff Ministries, and I'm coming to talk to you today about setting yourself free. And what that means is it begins with taking control of your finances. So I was unfortunately introduced to a number of different financial planners that really didn't put me before their profit. And I'm glad to say that Kirk Elliott, PhD, their philosophy is people over profits. They don't rush you. They have a holistic approach. They took my SEP, they invested it into gold and silver, which obviously is diversifying. It may be for you, it may not, but I will tell you this, KirkElliottPhD.com/unmasked, they will go beyond making you comfortable and knowing where your money's going. And so I would just say, take control of your finances. Go to KirkElliottPhD/unmasked for a discount and great advice and peace of mind that you'll have.